Want to know the one thing that not enough people take advantage of when going to get a degree abroad or study abroad? It might surprise you, but it's taking advantage of learning the language of the country that you're moving to. Not gonna lie, it's human nature for us to stay in our comfort zone, and it can be a little intimidating for us to dive into a new culture and a new language, especially when we don't have a lot of experience speaking in that foreign language. And as easy as it is to take the path of least resistance and keep speaking English when you're living abroad, you've gotta take advantage of learning the language of the country that you're living in. Not many people are lucky enough to be in an environment where they can fully immerse themselves in their target language, so this is something that you're gonna wanna do during your time studying or getting a degree abroad. Now, for those of you who don't know me yet, hi, my name's Emily. I'm your study abroad bestie with Beyond the States, and as somebody who's studied abroad twice before and currently lives in Italy, I have my fair share of tried and true tips to help you maximize language learning in a foreign country. So here are my top tips for taking advantage of learning a foreign language while you're studying abroad or getting your degree abroad. Now, one thing that I tell everybody when going to study abroad that makes the language learning process so much more organic and natural is practicing your hobbies in a foreign language. And I'm gonna give you a couple ways to do this. First, one thing that I really love about European universities that I fully took advantage of during my time studying abroad in Germany is participating in clubs and classes. There's so many clubs you can attend based off your interests. There's political clubs, there are language clubs. And if you're more of a sporty person, universities in Europe offer tons of sports classes, like hundreds of them. When I was attending university in Germany, I was shocked by how many sports courses they offered. They had beginner ballet classes, they had fencing classes, they had even like American football classes. And obviously the language of instruction for all these courses were in German, so this was a great way for me to passively learn German just by taking the class. I learned a lot of really niche vocabulary words through taking circuit training classes in Germany, and I have a friend who actually signed up for beach volleyball courses in Germany, and her German has skyrocketed since she started taking these courses. It's also a great way to meet local students who share common interests with you and build friendships, which will help your language skills progress even more. And speaking of hobbies, you're gonna wanna make sure to practice your target language even in your free time. For me personally, I really love to watch a lot of Netflix shows and read books in my free time in order to unwind, so I made sure to integrate language learning into those hobbies. Which means that I started watching a lot of TV shows on Netflix in my target language. So when I was in Germany, I watched a lot of German TV shows. And in the beginning, when my language skills weren't as advanced yet, I would watch shows that I knew the plot lines like the back of my hand, like The Office, for example, or Gossip Girl. And I would just watch these dubbed in German, and I already knew the plot line, which made it easier for me to pick up new words passively. And if you're really struggling, you can always keep the audio in your target language, but put the subtitles in English for a little bit of help. Now, if you're a bookworm like me, one thing that you really want to be doing is reading books in your target language. I specifically like to pick out short stories that are designed to help foreigners learn the language. Now, as I mentioned, I currently live in Italy. I've been living here for about a year, so I'm still working on learning the language. And these books in particular have really helped me build my vocabulary in Italian. Some books I especially love are Ollie Richard's short story series. He makes them for a ton of different languages. And one thing I appreciate about these books is that they are super simple to follow along and understand, even if your language skills aren't super advanced yet. I feel as though a lot of times when you're picking out books in a foreign language, you either have the choice between like baby books and advanced books where there's way too much vocabulary and you would be literally underlining every word. But these books I find are the perfect middle ground, and they have helped my Italian progress so much. I also really enjoyed this book for learning Italian. I found it when I was just randomly browsing through Amazon one day. It has so much drama in it. It honestly kept me so entertained, and what's really nice is that it also has a vocab bank in the back and also a quiz, so you make sure that you're comprehending everything. Now, with all this vocabulary that you're picking up from TV shows and books, how are you going to memorize it all? One thing that I always tell people is that vocabulary is the backbone of learning a foreign language, and you should prioritize it over anything else. Of course, I'm not telling you to neglect your grammar, but if you think about it, if you conjugate a verb wrong, for example, somebody's still going to understand what you're trying to tell them. Whereas Whereas if you don't have any vocabulary to string sentences together, you're going to have a major problem in communicating with people. So one thing that has personally really helped me with memorizing vocabulary is when I'm watching a TV show or reading a book in my target language, I make sure to write down all the new words that I don't know. After that, I go into Quizlet and type all the new vocab words into a Quizlet flashcard deck. I really like Quizlet in particular because it uses a spaced repetition algorithm in its learn mode, which really helps you retain the vocab more effectively. And it's also great for studying on the go when you have a break in between courses at university, or if you're sitting on the bus on your way to university or go hang out with friends. You can spend just like 5 minutes going over your flashcard deck, and it's really going to make a difference. Now, going back to university resources in particular, I highly recommend to join a language course through your university when you're studying abroad. Let me tell you guys, language courses at European universities are elite. I mean, I took courses in German at my university in the United States, and let me tell you, the quality of the ones that I took when I was studying abroad in Germany was like night and day. I mean, within a year, I was able to make a leap from A2 level German to B2 level German, and I have to say, I have to attribute that to the language courses at my German university. Another resource that European universities offer to international students that I really think you should be taking advantage of is the language exchange program, or oftentimes they call it the buddy program. This program is designed to match international students with local students so that they can practice language exchange. This is not only a great way to practice your language speaking skills in a colloquial setting, one-on-one with another student, but it's also a great way to make friends and connections. The local student can help you get the lay of the land at the university. Oftentimes they offer a campus tour. They can also give you all the tips for the best study spots. So if your foreign university offers this, which most likely it does, it's something that you need to sign up for. And last but not least, one thing that I really want to touch on is the fact that one of the biggest hurdles to get over when learning a foreign language is having the confidence to be able to speak in that language. Now, if you're still looking for your study abroad accommodation, I highly recommend you go through university housing in order to stay in a shared apartment with other students. In Europe, it's really common for university students to have a shared flat where they have their own private room, but the kitchen and the living room acts as a communal space. And having this shared living space really allows for you to interact more with local students and to improve your speaking abilities. I mean, the people you share your apartment with are gonna be people that you see every day, so of course you're gonna develop a familiarity and comfort around them, which is gonna allow you to feel more comfortable and confident in speaking to them in their language. When I studied abroad in Germany for the first time, I applied for university housing and stayed in a shared flat with 4 other German students, and let me tell you, my German speaking abilities made quantum leaps when I was living there. And I guarantee it's gonna have the same effect on you, so be sure to apply to university student housing if you have the chance so that you can surround yourself in the language as much as possible. Now that's all I have for today, but make sure to like and subscribe to Beyond the States for more life abroad content.